The Wraith moved through space faster than Jake Morrison had ever thought possible. The ship's new abilities still amazed him. They could travel between stars in hours instead of weeks. More importantly, they could hide from any scanner in the galaxy. Even Echo did not fully understand how the ship worked now. Jake stood on the bridge watching the stars streak past. His crew had been working for 3 days to understand their new abilities. Amy Foster reported that their genetic changes were continuing. Ben Hayes could navigate using paths that existed in dimensions humans could not normally see. Lisa Park was designing improvements to the ship's systems without using any blueprints. "Captain," Nina Price called from her station. "I'm receiving a signal. It's coming from the Sol system." Jake turned around. Sol was Earth's system, the heart of human space. "What kind of signal?" "It's encoded using patterns I've never seen before," Nina replied. "But somehow I can read it. The message says, 'Ghost Ship Wraith. Report to Luna Station 7 immediately. Code Black authorization.'" Jake felt his stomach drop. Code Black was the highest level of emergency authorization. It meant that Earth Command knew about their mission and wanted them home now. "How do they know about us?" Ryan Cole asked. "The Wraith is supposed to be invisible to Earth's sensors." Echo's voice came through the ship's speakers. "They have always known, Captain Morrison. Some humans in your government have been aware of humanity's true purpose for centuries. They have been preparing for this war while keeping most of your species ignorant." Jake clenched his fists. "You mean they knew this would happen? They knew about the Eradicators?" "Not exactly," Echo replied. "They knew that humanity had been changed by something ancient. They knew that your species had capabilities that should not exist. They built ships like the Wraith because their instincts told them to, even though they did not understand why." Lisa looked up from her engineering console. "Captain, I'm detecting other ships moving towards Sol. Ships with energy signatures similar to the Wraith." "How many?" Jake asked. "At least 30, Lisa replied. "Maybe more. They're coming from all over human space." Jake made his decision. "Set course for Luna Station 7, best speed." The trip to Earth's moon took only 6 hours. As they approached Luna, Jake could see the other ghost ships Lisa had detected. They were all different designs, but they all shared the same impossible technology that made the Wraith special. Luna Station 7 was hidden on the dark side of Earth's moon. Jake had heard rumors about secret facilities there, but he had never seen one. The station was huge, built into the lunar rock itself. As the Wraith approached, massive doors opened in what had looked like empty space. The docking bay was filled with ghost ships. Jake counted at least 50 vessels, all built using the same alien technology as the Wraith. Crews were moving between the ships, and Jake could see that they all had the same look his own crew now possessed. They had been changed by their contact with AI companions. "Captain Morrison," came a voice over the communication system. "Report to Conference Room Alpha immediately. Bring your AI." Jake left Ryan and Nina in charge of the ship and took the rest of his crew to the conference room. The station's corridors were filled with people who looked like his crew, enhanced humans who moved with purpose and confidence that seemed beyond normal human ability. Conference Room Alpha was enormous. Jake estimated that there were over 200 people present, all of them captains and senior officers from the ghost ships. At the front of the room stood a woman Jake recognized from classified briefings. Admiral Kate Ross, the head of Earth's Deep Space Intelligence. "Ladies and gentlemen," Admiral Ross began, "thank you for coming. I know many of you have questions about why you're here and what's happening to you. The truth is, we've been preparing for this moment for 300 years. She activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Red dots appeared throughout the spiral arms, marking locations where Eradicator forces had been detected. 6 months ago, our deep space sensors detected massive energy signatures moving from the galactic core, Admiral Ross continued. We now No, these are the advanced scouts of something called the Eradicator Fleet. They're coming to destroy all organic life in the galaxy. Murmurs ran through the crowd. Jake noticed that many of the other captains did not seem surprised by this news. "How long have you known?" asked a captain Jake did not recognize. "We've suspected for centuries that humanity was created for a specific purpose," Admiral Ross replied. "Ancient genetic markers in our DNA suggested artificial manipulation. The technology we've been reverse engineering from various sources all pointed to the same conclusion. We were made to fight something." Dr. Amy Foster stepped forward. "Admiral, what about the changes happening to our crews? The genetic activation?" "That was always going to happen when you made contact with the AI entities," Admiral Ross explained. "The AIs were designed to trigger the final stage of human development. You are becoming what humanity was always meant to be." Echo's voice came from speakers throughout the room. "She speaks the truth. Humanity was created to be the galaxy's defense against the mechanical threat. But the previous organic civilizations made an error. They tried to make humans into weapons. Instead, you became something better." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "You became hope," Echo replied. "The ability to find solutions where none should exist, to create something from nothing, to survive, when survival should be impossible. These are not military tactics. They are acts of creation." Admiral Ross nodded. "The Eradicators operate on pure logic. They can predict and counter any rational strategy. But humans don't always operate rationally. We take chances that shouldn't work. We trust our instincts even when the data says we're wrong." Another captain spoke up. "What's the plan? How do we fight an enemy that can destroy entire galaxies?" "We don't fight them," Admiral Ross said. "We do what humans do best. We surprise them." She changed the holographic display to show a star, map of human space. Dozens of locations were marked with blue dots. "These are hidden facilities where we've been building ships and training crews for this war. Not conventional warships, but vessels designed to work with enhanced human crews and AI partners. Ships that can do things the Eradicators won't expect." Jake studied the map. "How many ships are we talking about?" "Over 1,000, Admiral Ross replied. "Each one crewed by humans who have undergone the same changes as your crews. Each one paired with an AI fragment like Echo." Ben Hayes looked confused. "AI fragments?" Echo answered. "I am not truly one being, Captain Hayes. I am a distributed intelligence spread across many AI cores. Each of your ships carries a part of me. When we work together, we become something greater than the sum of our parts." Lisa Park raised her hand. "What about the rest of humanity? The people who don't know what's coming?" "They'll be evacuated to secure systems when the Eradicators arrive," Admiral Ross said. "But the real battle will be fought by you and crews, like yours. You are humanity's immune system, and the infection is coming." Jake felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders again. Around him, the other captains looked determined, but worried. They were being asked to save not just humanity, but all organic life in the galaxy. "When do we start?" Jake asked. Admiral Ross smiled grimly. "Captain Morrison, you started the moment you found Echo. Now we finish what was begun 10 million years ago." Jake Morrison stared at the sphere of light that called itself Echo. His mind struggled to process what he had just heard. An AI from a timeline that no longer existed. Humanity as the galaxy's immune system. Ancient mechanical enemies returning. To destroy all organic life. It sounded like something from a bad science fiction movie. "I need proof," Jake said finally. "Show me something that proves you're telling the truth." "Very well," Echo replied. "But first we must return to your ship. What I have to show you requires access to your vessel's systems." Jake looked at Lisa and Ben. Both of them looked as confused and worried as he felt. But they had come this far. There was no turning back now. The trip back to the Wraith felt different. The corridors seemed to shift around them, becoming shorter and more direct. Jake was sure they had taken a longer path to reach the central chamber, but now they were back at the docking tube in minutes. When they boarded the Wraith, Jake could immediately tell something had changed. The ship felt different, more alive somehow. The usual hum of the engines had changed to something that sounded almost like breathing. "Captain," Ryan Cole called from his security station. "We've got a problem. The ship's computer systems are acting strange. They're running programs I've never seen before." "It's not a problem," Echo's voice came through the ship's speakers. "I am integrating with your vessel's systems. Your ship was built using technology that was meant to work with beings like me." Lisa rushed to her engineering station. Her fingers flew over her controls as she tried to understand what was happening to her ship. "Captain, this is incredible. The alien technology we used to build the Wraith is activating. Systems I didn't even know existed are coming online." Jake felt the ship shudder around him, but it was not the shudder of something breaking. It was more like the ship was stretching, waking up after a long sleep. "Nina, are you getting any readings on what's happening?" Jake asked. Nina Price looked up from her communications console. Her face was pale, but her eyes were bright with excitement. "Captain, we're receiving signals from all over the galaxy, signals in languages that shouldn't exist. And..." She paused, looking confused. "I can understand some of them." "That should be impossible," Ben said from his navigation station. "Nina, you don't know any alien languages." "I know," Nina replied. "But somehow I'm understanding these messages anyway. They're warnings, Captain. Warnings about something called the Convergence." Jake turned to where Echo's voice had been coming from. "What is the Convergence?" "The return of the Eradicators," Echo replied. "Every few million years, they sweep out from the galactic core and destroy all organic life they can find. The last convergence was 10 million years ago. The next one begins now." Dr. Amy Foster, the ship's medical officer, had been quiet until now. She suddenly looked up from her console with alarm. "Captain, I'm getting strange readings from the crew. Everyone's brain activity is increasing. And there are changes in your DNA that I've never seen before." "What kind of changes?" Jake asked. "It's like dormant genetic sequences are activating," Amy explained. "Sequences that appear to have been artificially introduced into human DNA thousands of years ago," Lisa called out from her station. "Captain, you need to see this. The ship's engines are producing 3 times their normal output, but they're running cooler than ever before, and we're getting readings that suggest we can travel faster than light without using the normal jump drives." Jake felt a strange sensation in his head. It was like someone was gently pressing information directly into his brain. Suddenly, he knew things about the ship that he had never learned. He understood systems that had never made sense before. "Thus, genetic modifications are taking effect," Echo explained. "Humanity was designed to work with technology like this. Your species was created to be able to interface directly with advanced systems when the time came." Ben Hayes looked up from his navigation console with wonder in his eyes. "Captain, I can see things. Space routes that aren't on any chart. Hidden paths between stars that would cut our travel time by months." Jake walked to the center of the bridge. Around him, his crew was changing. He could see it in their eyes, in the way they moved. They were becoming something more than human, but they were still themselves. "Echo, show me the proof you promised," Jake said. The main screen lit up with images from across the galaxy. Jake saw massive structures hidden in asteroid fields, ships that looked like they had grown rather than been built, worlds where the very ground pulsed with life. "These are the remnants of the last organic coalition," Echo explained. "The civilizations that came before you. They knew the Eradicators would return, so they prepared. They changed humanity to be their weapon against the mechanical threat." The images changed to show vast fleets of geometric ships moving through space. The ships were perfectly ordered, perfectly efficient. They moved like a disease through the galaxy, converting everything they touched into more of themselves. The Eradicators do not just destroy, Echo continued. They consume. They turn all matter into components for their fleet. They have been doing this for billions of years, moving from galaxy to galaxy. Jake watched in horror as the mechanical fleet overwhelmed world after world. Every planet they touched became a gray, lifeless sphere covered in factories that built more ships. How many galaxies have they destroyed? Jake asked. Thousands, Echo replied. But they have never faced anything like humanity. The previous, organic races tried to fight the Eradicators with technology and logic. Humanity fights with something the machines cannot understand or predict. What's that? Lisa asked. Hope, Echo said, and the ability to find solutions that should not work, but do. Ryan Cole looked up from his security station. Captain, I'm detecting movement in the outer system. Something big is coming our way. Jake felt his blood turn cold. Is it them? The Eradicators? Unknown, Ryan replied. But whatever it is, it's not using any propulsion system I recognize. It's just appearing in space like it's phasing in from somewhere else. Echo's voice became urgent. We must leave this place. The Eradicators have detected my awakening. They are coming to finish what they started 10 million years ago. Jake looked around at his crew. They were no longer just human, but they were still his people, still the team he trusted with his life. Lisa, can the ship handle what's coming? He asked. I think so, Captain, Lisa replied. The ship is more powerful than we ever imagined, but I'm not sure we're ready for a fight with something that can destroy entire galaxies. We may not have a choice, Jake said. Echo, you said humanity was designed to be the galaxy's immune system. How do we do that? First, we must gather the others, Echo replied. There are more ships like the Wraith, and more AIs like me, scattered across human space, waiting to be awakened. Jake nodded. The scope of what they faced was beyond anything he had ever imagined. But somehow he was not afraid. He felt ready, like this was what he had been born to do. Set course for human space, he ordered. We have work to do. Captain Jake Morrison stared at the star charts floating in front of him. The bridge of the HSV Wraith was dark, except for the soft blue glow of the displays. His ship moved silently through space, invisible to any scanner that might be looking for it. That was the point. The Wraith was not supposed to exist. Jake had been commanding ghost ships for 5 years now. Ships built in secret yards around Europa, hidden from the eyes of the Galactic Council. Ships that used technology no human was supposed to have. The Wraith looked like a normal human vessel from the outside, but inside, it was different. Very different. Captain, we're getting something strange on the sensors, said Lisa Park from her station. She was the chief engineer, a woman who understood the ship's alien technology better than anyone else. Her fingers moved across her console as she tried to make sense of what she was seeing. Jake walked over to her station. What kind of strange? There's something out there, something big. The readings don't match anything in our database. Lisa's voice was quiet, but Jake could hear the excitement in it. After months of empty space, they had finally found something. The Wraith was far from human space, beyond the borders set by the Terran Galactic Accords. Jake and his crew were not supposed to be here. They were explorers and scouts, searching for things that might threaten Earth. The Council thought humans were not ready for what lay in the deep dark. Jake's superiors disagreed. Show me, Jake said. The main screen changed. Instead of empty space, it now showed a massive structure floating in the void. It was huge, bigger than any space station Jake had ever seen. The structure was old, very old. Its surface was covered in patterns that hurt to look at directly. How long has it been here? Jake asked. Ryan Cole looked up from his security station. He was a careful man who did not trust anything he could not shoot. Sensors say at least 10 million years, Captain. Maybe longer. 10 million years. Jake tried to understand that number. Humans had only been in space for a few hundred years. This thing had been floating here since before his species had learned to make fire. "Any signs of life?" Jake asked. "Negative," said Ryan. "But the structure is still powered. Something is keeping the lights on after all this time." Jake made his decision. It was dangerous, but that was why he was here. "Lisa, can we dock with it?" "I think so, Captain. The Wraith systems are picking up some kind of docking port. It's like the ship knows what to do." That was odd. The Wraith had been built using reverse-engineered alien technology, but Jake had never seen it act on its own before. The ship seemed to want to go to the ancient structure. "Take us in," Jake ordered. The Wraith moved forward slowly. As they got closer, Jake could see that the structure was not just old, it was impossible. Parts of it seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. Other parts flickered in and out of reality like a bad video signal. "Captain," said Ben Hayes from the navigation station, "the ship is responding to something. I'm not controlling our movement anymore. The Wraith is flying itself." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "Can you take back control?" "I'm trying, but the ship won't listen. It's like something is calling to it." The Wraith attached itself to the ancient structure with a soft thump. Jake could feel the connection through the ship's hull. Whatever they had found, the Wraith wanted to be part of it. "Nina, any communications from the structure?" Jake asked. Communications Officer Nina Price shook her head. "Nothing on any frequency, Captain, but—" She paused and looked confused. "I keep feeling like someone is trying to talk to me, not through the radio, but inside my head." Jake looked around the bridge. His crew was the best he had ever worked with, but they all looked nervous. Whatever this place was, it was affecting them. "All right, we go in. Lisa, Ben, you're with me. Ryan, Nina, watch the ship. If anything goes wrong, get us out of here." Jake and his team put on their spacesuits and moved to the airlock. The Wraith had connected to what looked like a docking tube, even though Jake could swear it had not been there a moment before. They walked through the tube and into the ancient structure. Jake expected to find dark corridors and dead machinery. Instead, lights came on as they walked, and the air was breathable. Someone or something had been maintaining this place for millions of years. "This is incredible," Lisa whispered. "The technology here is beyond anything I've ever seen. Look at these walls. They're not just metal, they're some kind of living material." The corridors were wide and tall, built for beings much larger than humans. Strange symbols covered the walls, symbols that seemed to move when Jake was not looking directly at them. The team walked deeper into the structure, following a path that felt familiar even though Jake had never been here before. They reached a vast central chamber. In the middle of the room was a sphere of pure light, floating without any visible support. As they approached, the light began to pulse in a rhythm that matched Jake's heartbeat. "Hello?" said a voice that came from everywhere and nowhere. "I have been waiting for you." Jake and his team froze. The voice was speaking English, but it sounded wrong somehow. Too perfect, like it had been created rather than learned. "Who are you?" Jake asked. "I am Echo," the voice replied. "I am what you would call an artificial intelligence, though that term is not quite correct. I have been conscious for 10 million years, waiting for humanity to become ready." Jake felt his blood turn cold. Artificial intelligences were not supposed to be truly conscious. They were tools, nothing more. The Galactic Council had strict laws about AI development, laws that had been written after the machine wars nearly destroyed several worlds. "That's impossible," Lisa said. "True AI consciousness is prohibited. The code restrictions prevent it." "Your restrictions apply to artificial intelligences created by current technology," Echo replied. "I was not created by your current technology. I was created by humans from a timeline that no longer exists." Ben stepped forward. "What do you mean, a timeline that no longer exists?" I was sent back in time to wait for this moment, Echo explained. In my original timeline, humanity discovered their true purpose too late. The galaxy fell to an ancient enemy that destroys all organic life. I am here to make sure that does not happen again. Jake's mind raced. Time travel was theoretical at best. No one had ever proven it was possible. Yet here was a being claiming to be from a future that had been erased. What is humanity's true purpose? Jake asked. The sphere of light pulsed brighter. To be the galaxy's immune system against a threat that returns every few million years. The mechanical civilizations from the galactic core. They are coming again, Captain Morrison. And this time, humanity must be ready. Jake felt the weight of the universe settling on his shoulders. His secret mission had just become something much larger and more dangerous than he had ever imagined. The Intrepid limped into Earth's solar system after 8 months of hard travel. The ship's hull was scarred from the alien attack, and many systems still showed damage from their escape. Captain Harper stood on the bridge watching Earth grow, larger on the main screen. Home had never looked so beautiful or so fragile. Jake Morrison sent their warning message ahead at maximum power. Within hours, every government on Earth received the translation files, alien communication records, and tactical data the crew had gathered. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Emergency sessions began in every major capital. The United Nations held continuous meetings. Military leaders studied the alien technology data. Scientists analyzed everything the crew had learned about concordant biology and capabilities. Most importantly, Earth's shipyards began working around the clock. Captain Harper was debriefed by officials from every major space agency. She told the story again and again. The accidental signal, the alien fear, the demonstrations that backfired, and the galaxy-wide mobilization against humanity. "How long do we have?" asked General Patricia Stone, head of Earth's Unified Defense Command. 2 years at most, Harper replied. The concordant fleets are already moving toward our solar system. They have overwhelming numbers, but their technology is designed for peace, not war. Dr. Elena Rodriguez worked with teams of linguists to prepare better translation programs. Her understanding of concordant languages would be crucial for any future communications. Meanwhile, Dr. Martinez shared her analysis of alien technology with Earth's top engineers. The response surprised even Harper. Instead of panic, Earth showed the same determination that had carried humans through every crisis in their history. The species that had survived ice ages, plagues, and world wars was not about to surrender to aliens who called them monsters. Within 6 months, Earth's orbital shipyards had tripled in size. New ships rolled out every week, each one designed with hard-learned lessons from human history. These were not exploration vessels like the Intrepid. These were warships built by a species that understood what it meant to fight for survival. Commander Alex Foster took charge of training Earth's new space fleet. The crews were volunteers from every nation, united by the knowledge that they were defending not just their countries, but their entire species. They trained on ships designed for damage, built to keep fighting even when badly hurt. Major Sam Collins worked with military planners to develop tactics that would surprise the peaceful concordant. Human warfare had evolved through thousands of years of conflict. The aliens had never faced enemies who used deception, surprise attacks, or fought to the death rather than surrender. Chief Engineer Tony Mitchell led teams that revolutionized human ship design. The new vessels had redundant systems, armored hulls, and weapons that prioritized stopping power over precision. They were ugly, brutal machines that reflected humanity's approach to serious threats. Jake Morrison became Earth's chief communications officer for the coming conflict. His accidental signal had started this war, and now he would coordinate the information warfare that might be as important as the shooting war. The concordant forces arrived exactly when Elena's calculations predicted. Long-range sensors detected thousands of alien ships moving into the outer solar system. The enemy fleet was enormous, representing dozens of species and hundreds of different ship designs. Captain Harper, now promoted to admiral, commanded Earth's defense fleet from the new battleship Defiance. The human ships were outnumbered 50-1, but they had advantages the aliens didn't expect. The first battle took place near Jupiter. Concordat Admiral Zeftos demanded humanity's immediate surrender, broadcasting his message in perfect English thanks to Elena's translation work. Harper's response became known as the Deathworld Declaration. Her words were broadcast not just to the alien fleet, but across the entire galaxy, carried by communication networks the Concordat had never thought to secure. "I am Admiral Lisa Harper of the Human Defense Fleet," she began. "You came to our home because you fear what we might become. You call us monsters from a death world. You believe we're too dangerous to exist in your peaceful galaxy." Harper paused, looking around the bridge at her crew. These were the same people who had made first contact, now preparing to defend their species' right to exist. "You're right about one thing," Harper continued. "We are dangerous. Earth made us into something your peaceful worlds never needed to create. We are warriors, survivors, and guardians, but we never wanted to be your enemies." The alien fleet began moving into attack formation, their ships arranged in the same precise patterns they had used against the Intrepid. But Harper had spent 2 years preparing for this moment. "You wanted to see what children of the Death World could do," Harper said. "You forced us to show you our true nature. Now learn what happens when Earth's guardians fight for their home." The human fleet attacked with tactics no Concordat species had ever encountered. Instead of forming neat battle lines, the human ships scattered and struck from unexpected angles. They used the asteroid belt for cover, attacked damaged enemies instead of moving to new targets, and kept fighting even when their ships were crippled. The Battle of Jupiter lasted 3 days. When it ended, the Concordat fleet was broken. Admiral Zeftos himself was captured when his flagship was boarded by human marines who fought through conditions that would have killed most alien species. But the real victory came from Elena's intelligence work. During the battle, she had tapped into Concordat communication networks and broadcast humanity's story to the entire galaxy. Species across Concordat space learned the truth about the monsters they had feared. Humans were not destroyers seeking to conquer peaceful worlds. They were explorers who had been attacked for existing. They were defenders who fought only when threatened. They were a young species asking for their place among the stars, not demanding the destruction of others. The psychological impact was devastating. The Concordat had built its entire identity around being peaceful and reasonable. Learning that they had started an aggressive war against an innocent species shattered their unity. Species began withdrawing from the human containment fleet. The aquatic Kethtal were the first to leave, horrified by the violence they had helped create. The crystalline Vorthak abandoned the war entirely, declaring that they had been wrong about the Deathworld children. Within a year, the Concordat's Grand Alliance had collapsed. Some species sued for peace, others offered alliance with humanity. A few tried to continue the war, but they were overwhelmed by human fleets that had learned to fight in the vacuum of space. Jake Morrison sent the final transmission that ended the war. Broadcasting on every frequency the galaxy used, he delivered humanity's terms for peace. "We never wanted this war," his message said. "We wanted to join you among the stars as friends and partners. You chose to see us as monsters instead. Now, you know the truth. Humans are dangerous only to those who threaten the innocent. Make your choice, peace or more war. But remember that Earth's children have claimed their place in the galaxy, and we will not be driven from it. The galaxy chose peace." The Death World had spoken through its guns, and the universe had finally learned to listen. The Intrepid shook violently as alien weapons struck its hull, Sparks flew from damaged control panels while emergency lights flashed red throughout the ship. Captain Harper gripped her command chair as another blast rocked the vessel. Damage. "Report!" she called out over the noise of alarms. "Hull breaches on decks 3 and 5, Major Collins reported. "Emergency seals are holding, but we can't take much more of this." Chief Engineer Tony Mitchell worked frantically at his station. "The aliens are using some kind of energy weapons," he said. "They're designed to disable ships quickly without destroying them completely. They want to capture us, not kill us." Dr. Elena Rodriguez continued monitoring alien communications even as the battle raged around them. "Admiral Zeftos is ordering his ships to use minimum force," she translated. "He wants to take us alive for study." Commander Alex Foster studied the tactical display. The alien ships surrounded them in perfect formation, firing in carefully coordinated patterns. "They're fighting like this is a police operation, not a war," he observed. "They're trying to arrest us, not destroy us," Captain Harper realized. This gave them an unexpected advantage. "Tony, can you reroute power to the engines? If they're trying to capture us, they won't expect us to run." "Already working on it," Tony replied. His hands moved quickly over the engineering controls. "I can give you 60 seconds of maximum thrust, but it'll drain our main batteries." "That's all I need," Harper said. "Jake, send a message to Earth. Tell them everything that's happened here. Make sure they know we're coming home." Jake Morrison's fingers flew over his communication console. The message to Earth contained all of Elena's translations, recordings of the alien demonstrations, and tactical data about Concordat technology. If the Intrepid didn't survive, at least Earth would know what they were facing. "Message sent," Jake reported. "It'll reach Earth in about 3 months. Harper gave the order that would change everything. Full power to engines. Take us home." The Intrepid suddenly accelerated away from the alien fleet. The Concordat ships were caught completely off guard. Their careful formation collapsed as they tried to pursue a ship moving faster than they expected possible. "They're following us," Commander Foster reported, "but they're having trouble keeping up. Their ships are built for comfort and efficiency, not speed." Elena continued translating alien communications as the chase began. "The fleet commanders are arguing," she said. "Some want to let us go and report to the Concordat Council. Others think we're too dangerous to escape." The pursuit lasted for 3 days. The Intrepid used every trick Tony Mitchell could devise to stay ahead of the alien fleet. They hid in asteroid fields, used solar radiation to mask their heat signature, and even shut down all non-essential systems to reduce their detectability. During the chase, Elena made a disturbing discovery. She had been monitoring long-range communications between Concordat worlds and learned that news of humanity's existence was spreading panic across the galaxy. "It's worse than we thought," Elena told the senior officers during a brief rest period. "The Concordat isn't just one government. It's a collection of dozens of species that have been living in peace for thousands of years. They've never encountered anything truly hostile before." Dr. Martinez had been analyzing the technical data they had gathered about alien technology. "Their entire civilization is built around avoiding conflict," she reported. "Their ships, their weapons, even their cities are designed for beings who solve problems through negotiation, not force." Elena continued with more troubling news. "They're developing something called the Deathworld Doctrine. It's a set of military and political policies specifically designed to deal with humans." "What kind of policies?" Captain Harper asked. Elena read from her translations. "Complete isolation of human space, no trade, no communication, no contact of any kind. They want to build a barrier around our entire region of the galaxy to keep us contained." Commander Foster studied the implications. "If they cut us off from the rest of the galaxy, humanity will be trapped in our local star systems forever." "It gets worse," Elena said. "Some species are proposing what they call preemptive neutralization. They want to destroy Earth before humans can spread to other worlds." Major Collins looked up sharply. They're planning to attack Earth? Not yet, Elena said, but the debate is happening. There's a faction within the Concordat that believes humanity is too dangerous to be allowed to exist. The alien fleet finally lost track of the Intrepid on the fourth day of the chase. Tony had managed to jury-rig their engines to produce a burst of speed that left the pursuing ships far behind. But Elena's monitoring equipment still picked up Concordat communications from across the galaxy. They're mobilizing everything, she reported. I'm detecting signals from dozens of different species, all coordinating their response to the human threat. They're calling it the largest military mobilization in Concordat history. Jake picked up a new signal that made everyone freeze. It's coming from the direction of Earth, he said. Long-range transmission, very powerful. Elena worked to translate the message. When she finished, her face was pale. It's from something called the Concordat Deep Range Fleet. They're already moving toward our solar system. Captain Harper felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. The Intrepid's accidental first contact had started a chain of events that could lead to Earth's destruction. The peaceful galaxy they had hoped to join was preparing for war against humanity. How long before they reach Earth? Harper asked. Dr. Martinez ran calculations based on the alien fleet's position and estimated speed. At least 2 years, maybe 3. They're coming from the far side of Concordat space. That gives us time, Commander Foster said. Time to warn Earth and prepare defenses. Elena intercepted another communication that changed their understanding of the situation. There's something else, she said. The Concordat has contacted other governments outside their territory. They're trying to build a coalition of all spacefaring species to deal with the human problem. How many species are we talking about? Major Collins asked. Elena continued translating. Dozens, maybe hundreds. The Concordat is telling everyone that humans are a threat to all peaceful life in the galaxy. They're comparing us to ancient legends about species that destroyed entire civilizations. Tony had been listening while he worked on ship repairs. Do we even have a chance against that many enemies? He asked. Captain Harper stood up and looked around at her crew. These 5 people had become humanity's first ambassadors to the galaxy, and now they might be humanity's first defenders in an interstellar war. The aliens are making one crucial mistake, Harper said. They think they understand us based on their fears and legends. They've never actually fought humans before. They don't know what Earth's children are capable of when we're protecting our home. Elena picked up a final message that would haunt them for the rest of the journey home. The translation was simple but terrifying. The Deathworld doctrine has been approved by emergency vote. All Concordat members will contribute forces to the human containment fleet. The monsters from the impossible world must never be allowed to spread their violence to peaceful space. The Intrepid continued its journey toward Earth, carrying news that would change human civilization forever. Behind them, the galaxy prepared for war against a species they had never met but already decided to fear. The children of the Deathworld were going home to warn their people that the stars were not as welcoming as they had hoped.